The oceans are without a doubt the most beautiful, mysterious, and quite often the most terrifying environments that exist on our planet. A world that lies right on our doorstep, yet even to this day, we know so little about it. To put it into perspective, a well-known statistic explains that even though our oceans are covered than more than 70% of the Earth's surface, over 80% of them still remain unexplored to this day. New species of life are discovered on a yearly basis, the deeper and further we go, begging the question each time of who really knows what else could be out there. But in spite of the dread it may ignite in us, the ecosystem of this neighbouring world is nevertheless extremely vital for our planet's overall health. With coral reefs depleting at such alarming rates around the world, awareness and alternative solutions for marine life is needed now more than ever. It should come to no surprise how such a force as unpredictable and wondrous as the sea has inspired so many artists and writers for thousands of years, and at times artists have even immersed themselves fully into the deep with some beautifully haunting sculptures that lie on the seabed. Many on the internet would consider these strange and creepy, like ghosts waiting in the depths, but the more you look into the stories behind them, the more you realise just how inspiring and even beneficial to nature they truly are. An almost ingenious way to create harmony and understanding between humankind and the sea. As someone who has a deep love and interest in the ocean, but also a very visceral sense of fear and respect for it ever since I had a fairly traumatic scuba diving accident, I've still always been fascinated by underwater sculptures. They truly are an experience like no other, and I'm always a huge advocate for the many unique and quirky ways for one to experience art. From submerged saints to colossal giants, we are going under the surface together to marvel at some of the most incredible underwater statues that exist today, as well as where they came from and what they represent. But before we dive into the water, I'd like to quickly share an exciting new offer from today's video sponsor, Manscaped, the very best out there in men's below-the-waist grooming. Now, I'm a sort of guy who likes to look after himself, but when it comes to browsing products online or in the shops, I just get really overwhelmed, to be honest, almost to the point where I give up. But that's where the beauty of Manscaped comes in. They keep it super simple but extremely high quality and give you all the essential things you need to work on your appearance and confidence, especially when using their Performance Package 4.0. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawn Mower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, an amazingly comfortable performance boxer briefs, and a snazzy travel bag. Their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawn Mower 4.0, features a cool LED light for precise shaving and a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce the risk of ingrown hairs or other grooming accidents, thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. So what's in it for you? Well, Manscaped are offering you a whopping deal of 20% off and free shipping with the code DWELLER at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com using my code DWELLER. Start unlocking your confidence today and grab the right tools with Manscaped. A huge thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring today's video, and without further ado, welcome to another video, everyone. Today we'll be exploring the secrets of underwater sculptures. The Cancun Underwater Museum, known locally as the MUSA, or the Museo Subaquático de Arte, has been described as the largest museum of its kind anywhere on Earth. This underwater forest of statues was first conceived by Jamie Gonzalez Canto with the help of a British sculptor named Jason de Cairns Taylor, a name that will in fact frequently pop up in this video, as he is one of the world's most renowned underwater sculptors, responsible for some of the world's most famous sites existing today. The idea was inspired in 2008 by the very honourable end goal of providing an alternative, dedicated diving spot in order to protect the very fragile and delicate coral reefs of Cancun. Construction began the following year in 2009, and the museum was finally opened to the public the year after. Today, there are over 500 sculptures placed within 2 separate sections of the Cancun National Marine Park. The MUSA welcomes nearly 200,000 visitors each year. The many surprises a diver can come across in this fascinating underwater art gallery is truly staggering. Each sculpture is made by a series of international and local sculptors, constructed out of pH-neutral marine concrete anchored to the ocean floor. But as you may notice, unlike a traditional museum or art gallery, the sculptures at the MUSA change over time as they become integral parts of the aquatic environment and a new home to various plant and animal species. One of the most notable installations is the Silent Evolution, made by MUSA founder Jason Taylor himself. This work comprises nearly 450 life-size figurines grouped together in a way that's described as a harmonious coexistence of humanity. There is also a piece called Anthropocene, which is a natural submerged Volkswagen Beetle located near the Monet Reef. The car's exterior has been covered by various plants, and the car is now a home to a diverse array of underwater life. That, to me at least, really encompasses a theme of nature ultimately being able to find a home anywhere, whereas mankind, on the other hand, often struggles to readjust to the bare elements of a world. It's a beautifully fascinating world that makes me just want to grab my mask and snorkel and dive in. I'm yet to visit Mexico, but I hope one day if I'm ever passing through Cancun, I can get the chance to explore this place. Now we head not too far away up north to Nassau in the Bahamas to take a gander at the giant underwater statue that was also designed by Jason Taylor called Ocean Atlas. This awesome sculpture depicts a local Bahamian girl displayed as carrying the weight of the ocean above her in reference to the ancient Greek myth of Atlas, the titan who helped up the heavens. In many ways, it symbolizes the burden we are currently asking future generations to carry, and the collective responsibility we must accept to prevent collapse of the delicate ecosystems of the oceans. According to Taylor's website, underwatersculpture.com, Ocean Atlas is currently the largest single sculpture ever to be deployed underwater. It reaches 5 meters up from the sea floor to the surface and weighs over 60 tons. Due to the sheer scale of the sculpture, it had to be assembled underwater in sections. At low tide, the work reflects a mirror image of the underside of the sea surface. It is a dramatic increase in scale from Taylor's previous works, and ensures that even after substantial coral growth, the figure will still remain highly recognizable. A solar light and flag is also located on top of the highest point to aid marine navigation. Constructed again out of sustainable pH-neutral materials, Ocean Atlas creates an artificial reef for marine life to colonize and inhabit, whilst also drawing tourists away from overstressed natural reef areas. It has drawn media attention from around the world, which in turn highlighted a long-standing oil leak from a power station refinery only a few miles up the coastline, which had been polluting the marine environment for many years. The sculpture was commissioned by the Bahamas Reef Environment Educational Foundation, or the BREEF, with the aim of creating an underwater sculpture garden in honor of its founder, Sir Nicholas Nuttall. It includes other sculptural works by local artists such as Willis Tynes and Andret John, and an artificial reef trail designed by the Reef Ball Foundation. It would seem Ocean Atlas would not be alone within the Caribbean Sea, as not too far away, the Monet Bay Underwater Sculpture Park, located off the coast of Grenada Island, was the very first of Jason Taylor's underwater gardens. It was widely acclaimed as the first of its kind, and is now listed as one of the National Geographic's 25 Wonders of the World. The 75 works cover an area of 800 square meters and are located in a series of sand patches and gullies between natural rock formations. At depths of 5 to 8 meters, they are accessible by scuba diving, snorkeling, and glass-bottom boats. This peaceful marine abode off the coast of Monet Bay has not always been so peaceful, however. In 2004, the bay suffered considerable storm damage from Hurricane Ivan. The plan then ensued to place these artificial structures to provide a new base for marine life to proliferate, offering a stable and permanent platform which is textured to allow coral polyps to attach themselves to the sculptures. The park draws divers and snorkelers away from the few nearby fragile reefs which were not affected by Hurricane Ivan, including the adjacent Flamingo Bay, which attracts large numbers of tourists. The sculpture park was crucial in convincing a government to designate the area as a marine protected zone. Entrance fees to the park now help fund park rangers to manage tourism and fishing quotas. Celebrated works include Vicissitudes, which features a ring of children holding hands, facing out into nutrient-rich ocean currents. These statues were cast from children from diverse walks of life, standing as a symbol of unity and resilience. Again, as described on Taylor's website, they're an example of how we're inscribed and formed by the nutrients we absorb. However, locally it was at first interpreted as a tribute to slavery due to the structural connections resembling shackles and the proximity to the Atlantic Ocean and the Middle Passage. The Lost Correspondent portrays a man sitting at a desk with his typewriter. A collection of newspaper articles dating back to the 1970s covers the desktop, some of them reporting stories from a time in Grenada's history before the revolution. The piece reflects on how communications are changing so rapidly. Next, I want to discuss the first underwater statue I ever learned of, known as Christ of the Abyss, submerged in the seas of San Frutoso in Italy. This statue has actually gone through many transformations and modifications over the years, since the first bronze statue was erected on the bed of the sea on the 22nd of August 1954, 15 meters down. It stands at 2.5 meters tall and weighs about 260 kilograms without the base. It represents Jesus with his head and hands lifted towards the surface, extending his blessings and compassion. It was created by Italian sculptor Guido Galletti and was inspired by Duilio Mercante, the world-famous Italian diving instructor who was considered the father of underwater teaching. The monument was erected at the site of Dario Gonzatti's death in 1947, a close colleague of Mercante's and the very first diver to experiment with an oxygen self-contained breathing apparatus that we now know today as scuba. Following his death, a plaque was erected at the foot of a monument in his honor. It was recently repaired to prevent deterioration and corrosion, and to reconnect a hand that had been separated due to a loose anchor from a passing boat. Because of the shallow water and the closeness to the bay, the descent to the location where the underwater Jesus statue is situated is not very challenging. If you opt to dive into the water, you will not only locate the monument you seek, but also the remnants of a British vessel that sank not too far from there amid the Crimean War. There have also been many copies and replicas of this beautiful statue located around the world, such as the American copy in Key Largo, Florida, and one that was erected near Grenada Island once again, in commemoration of the disaster of the Bianca Sea that caught fire and sank in 1961. It was a famous luxury cruise liner from Italy that was dubbed by some as the Titanic of the Caribbean. The statue celebrates the courageous efforts of the Grenadian locals that rescued roughly over 700 passengers and crew. Incredibly, only one person died during the disaster. Finally, whilst we're here in the Mediterranean, not too far away near the island of Sainte Marguerite off the coast of Cairns in France, lies the Underwater Museum of Cairns. This again was constructed by Jason DeCaires Taylor and was completed not too long ago in 2021. It was Taylor's first installation in the Mediterranean Sea and took over 4 years to develop. It features a series of 6 huge 3-dimensional portraits, each over 2 meters in height and 10 tons in weight. Placed at a depth of between 3 and 4 meters, these artworks rest on areas of white sand in between oscillating seagrass meadows in the protected southern part of the island. The shallow depth and close proximity to the shore make this site easily accessible, and the crystal clear waters make these sculptures look absolutely stunning. The 6 works are based on portraits of local members of the community, covering a range of ages and professions. For example, one sculpture is of Maurice, an 80-year-old local fisherman. And another sculpture is of Anouk, a 9-year-old primary school student. Each face is significantly upscaled and sectioned into 2 parts. The outer part resembles a mask, as the theme of masks is historically significant to the nearby island. It is well known for being the location where the man with the iron mask was imprisoned. Another connection is to the performing arts that Cairns is famous for, as well as the annual film festival hosted there. The split mask design concept is a metaphor for the ocean. One side of a mask depicts strength and resilience, the other, fragility and decay. From land, we see the surface, calm and serene, or powerful and majestic. This is a view of a mask of the sea. However, below the surface is a fragile, finely balanced ecosystem, which has been continuously degraded and polluted over the years by human activity. The location of the sculptures was previously an area of disused marine infrastructure. Part of the project was a significant site clearing where the marine debris such as old engines and pipelines were removed to create a space for the installation of the artworks. The site has now been cordoned off from boats, making it safe for snorkelers and divers, while aiding in the prevention of further damage caused by anchors to the seagrass meadows. The beautiful patches of seagrass we can see here are also considered to be vital marine habitats, sometimes referred to as the lungs of the ocean for the vast amount of oxygen they create. In spite of the numerous threats our oceans face, including overfishing, habitat loss, ocean acidification, global warming and pollution, it's always comforting to know that human beings can still make a conscious effort to provide many different solutions to these issues. Not only that, but incredibly creative ones such as these beautifully made underwater sculptures. Like I said, the sea is something I both fear and respect after having that near-death experience at sea, but whenever I get the chance, I'm always back in the water. I can't help it. Experiencing the peaceful silence of being underwater, to see all the colours of a fish and coral, it really is a therapeutic experience and one of the first things I want to do whenever I'm lucky enough to travel abroad. And to see these statues and sculptures up close must be such an amazing thrill. Just looking through the many photos and videos of these amazing works of art and seeing how nature not only makes itself at home in and around them, but at times even adds more to their beauty, shows a real potential in how we can share this planet with our marine animal friends and even cultivate a better understanding of the mysterious environment of the sea. And just for fun, there's one more underwater sculpture that I want to include in this video as a kind of little bonus, which is the underwater shark statue at Lake Neuchâtel in Switzerland. The origins about where this creepy looking shark came from is actually not very well known. It was found simply sitting at the bottom of Lake Neuchâtel, but how exactly it got there still remains a mystery. However, on Reddit, where you'll find me hanging out very frequently, it's been theorized a couple of times that it used to be a movie prop for a film called Choc au Lac. Many links have been thrown around that actually display the shark in the film, like the clip I'm using now, whereas others have guessed that the shark was dumped in the lake to be sort of a tourist attraction, one that would both pique people's curiosity and scare them. But there's not really much else I can say about it really. I mean, it's still quite mysterious about how it got there, which is obviously really fun to think about. But I think the reason why it's been such a sensation on the internet is because it's so creepy looking. Imagine swimming through a very dark and murky lake and then all of a sudden you see this giant grinning mouth looking right at you as if it's about to swallow you whole. I mean, it's just, it's horrible. But yeah, it's still fascinating, and still something I thought was worth popping in this video, if only briefly. But is this a statue that I'd personally want to see for myself? Absolutely not, no way. I'll be keeping my feet firmly on dry land for this one. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you found it interesting, and I hope some of you out there get a chance to explore these underwater sites if you're planning your next holiday soon. And I also recommend you head over to Jason DeCaires Taylor's website, because the amount of underwater sculpture work he's done is quite incredible. I didn't even realise until recently how close his work is to go and visit. Down the road from me, for example, is London, and in the River Thames he's done some amazing sculptures that look both haunting and beautiful. It's so strange to think I've never seen these before, but I'm definitely going to keep a lookout next time I'm in London. Before I go, as per usual, it's the time again for Artist Corner. Here I get to share some amazing artwork sent in by one of my viewers. And today's featured artist that I'm excited to show you is the very talented Madeline Mesa. Madeline is an artist hailing from Phoenix, Arizona in the USA. From a creative and artistic family, Madeline has been drawing and painting since she was young, and nowadays has developed an interesting abstract style that delves into the human psyche, consciousness, and the etheric information that she believes is the source of our malleable reality. Quote, "Through automatic drawing, creating an image without a goal in mind, I explore different emotions and encapsulate them into artworks, naming them after the emotional energy they most closely resemble once the image has found its conclusion." End quote. Her chosen medium for her illustrations are mostly ink on paper, but her more colourful mixed media pieces are a mix of acrylic, ink, charcoal, and sometimes collage. Madeline has also told me some exciting news that she recently turned a collection of her automatic drawings into an art book called Shadow Work, a negative energy burn book, and she's continuing to create new illustrations for the upcoming second edition. Therefore, if you like what you see, I highly recommend grabbing yourself a copy of the book via the link I've left in the description below. And of course, head over to her website to see more of her wonderful portfolio. If you too are an artist and would like a spot at the end of my videos, I'd love to get to know you. Please send me an email to blinddweller@gmail.com telling me a bit about your background and of course some image attachments to your art. I'm also on Instagram if you want to see my occasional artwork, and be sure to join my Discord server, Blind Dwellers Art Club, to meet other like-minded artists such as yourself. Finally, as always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members, and a special shout out to my loyal top tier donators. Tyler Butler, Harley Simpson, Eric Lamarca, Tyler Rogers, Dave MC, Booty Magic, Molotale, E. Quatamok, Lee Flowers, Calvin Kai, John Allen, The New Ongoing 24, Akayaza, Charlie Sanchezi, Fernando Achicaro, Large Fatty or Big Chad, Port Perea, Ken B, and Carol H. That's all from me today then, my friends. See you in the next one soon. Keep being creative, and bye for now.